The December wind howled across the rugged Wyoming plains, pushing sheets of snow across the open fields of the old McAllister Ranch, a land that had once thrived under the firm hand of generations, with grit in their bones and hope in their hearts. But times had changed. Drought had tortured the land for years, cattle numbers had fallen, and the once booming ranch had become the last lonely ember in the legacy of Luke McAllister, a man who carried the weight of that history in every breath he took. On this harsh winter morning, wrapped in a worn coat that had belonged to his father, Luke stood on the wide porch overlooking the frost-bitten barns, the desperate quiet of the ranch echoing the growing fear inside him that this Christmas might be his last one on this land. Then the sound came, wheels cutting through snow, hooves clopping against the cold earth. He turned, expecting the feed store delivery. Maybe the vet, maybe a neighbor coming to check if the rumors of his failing ranch were true, but it wasn't any of them. It was a stagecoach he hadn't ordered, called for, or expected, and when it stopped and the door swung open with a soft creak, a woman stepped out, slender, graceful even beneath layers of travel-worn wool, her dark hair dusted with snowflakes, her eyes shining with the strange combination of fear, determination, and something else he couldn't name. "Luke McAllister?" she asked softly, her voice gentle but steady. "I'm Clara Hayes. I believe I'm your bride." Luke's breath caught in the cold. "Air bride," the word dropped, like a stone in the snow between them. This couldn't be right. Sure, he had filled out those matchmaker letters months ago in a moment of despair and whiskey softened loneliness. But he had never followed through, never mailed them, never confirmed anything. Or so he thought. Yet here she was, standing in the biting Wyoming wind, trusting that a man she had never met would keep her warm, keep her safe, keep his word. "There's been a mistake," he said. But Clara simply shook her head, her gaze full of a quiet certainty he didn't understand. "There's no mistake, Mr. McAllister. I'm here because you need me, and because I need a place to belong." Something about the way she said it made Luke swallow the words he wanted to argue. Instead, he said, "Well, you'd better come inside before the snow buries you." Clara followed him in, and Luke couldn't shake the strange feeling, rising in his chest, an instinct that this woman might bring something far more powerful than companionship to his failing ranch. While she warmed her hands by the fire, he studied her carefully. She was polite, gentle, but her eyes flickered constantly, observing the room, taking in details, measuring, calculating, not the gaze of a helpless mail-order bride. Something sharper lived behind those eyes, something she didn't want him to see. Days passed, and Clara settled in with quiet grace, cooking, tending the house, feeding the animals, and moving through the ranch as though she'd always belonged. But Luke noticed things. How she lingered near the damaged barn beams, how her fingers traced the wood with familiarity, how she paused near the broken windmill, her eyes narrowing as if she could see its inner workings without opening it. One night, as the wind raged and the temperature dropped, Luke found her in the workshop, sleeves rolled up, lantern burning bright, surrounded by tools she had no business knowing how to use. But she did, with startling precision. "Clara," he said quietly, stepping closer, "what are you fixing?" She looked back nervously, her hands covered in sawdust. "I didn't want to worry you," she murmured, "but I know about structures, machines, engineering. My father taught me before he died, and I saw things around your ranch, things falling apart, things that could still be saved if repaired correctly." Luke stared at her, stunned. A hidden talent, one that could save his ranch. "Why didn't you tell me?" Clara hesitated, her voice raw. "Because men don't usually want wives who know more about tools than embroidery." The confession hit Luke hard, not because it was absurd, but because it was true for almost every man he'd ever known. But not him, and certainly not now. "Clara," he said softly, "this ranch doesn't need embroidery. It needs someone who believes it can live again." Her eyes widened at his words, and something in the space between them shifted, like the first spark inside a cold hearth. Over the next weeks, Clara worked beside him, and Luke watched in awe as she repaired windmills, reinforced barns, optimized water channels, and sketched plans he never would have dreamed of. She brought life back to the ranch, real, tangible life, and every evening as they worked side by side, the quiet admiration between them grew into something deeper, warmer, and dangerously close to love. By Christmas Eve, the ranch was standing stronger than it had in years. The sky glittered with stars, the snow shimmered like silver, and Clara stood beside Luke on the porch where she had first arrived. Only this time she wasn't a stranger. She was the miracle he hadn't known he needed, and he wasn't letting her go. If you're watching this story, the narrator's voice concludes, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another inspiring tale like this, stories of courage, destiny, and unexpected love. Join us on this journey.